Hey guys, thanks for checking out the Bucked Up Podcast. If you don't mind hitting the like and subscribe button, we have 2 new episodes coming out every week. Now let's get into it. Today's episode is sponsored by one of my favorite rap labels, Front Row Regale. Started by my good friend Rock City Mark, legendary rapper Ito, and Jay Rios, they are the go-to for real hip-hop. Make sure to check out the whole team, including DJ Doo-Wop, Jay Black, Nice to Future, Boo Boo the Prince, Reno RX, and Uwop Diggs. Follow Front Row Regale on all platforms and check out the new New York by Ito and DJ Doo-Wop out now. So does that sound good to you?
This is cool.
Perfect. I'm happy you actually know what you're doing. Most people don't. Like, they don't care about what they sound like.
Fully operating business in here.
Some people don't know. Some people don't have a fucking king's throne.
A lot of people like to take pictures and I need to get those pictures developed. You know what I mean? We're like, you know what I mean? It's not that kind of party over here, bro. I'm trying to get this shit in.
You asked what my fans wanted. I only had one thing prepared for you in this whole conversation. Is that I've messaged this to you when we first met.
When do we start?
We can start whenever. It's a rolling.
Do you do like an intro?
No, it's just a rolling start.
What's up? It's Kosha Dillz.
There's the
Sam
intro
on Bucked Up Podcast.
I should
Welcome
have
to the crib.
The guest do the intro for me.
Yeah,
but I saw you.
Welcome to my apartment.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for. Does everyone know who you're with usually?
Yeah.
Okay,
your name will show up.
But do they know 1,000 Words is
1,000 Words is here?
In the back. And it's in the back.
Mama Words is here.
Mama Words. Okay, that's what I want to reference. Do people reference you as 1,000 Words or your real first name?
My friends know me by my real name, but Rome's my regular name.
Rome. Okay. My name's Rami.
Rami and Rome.
Rami and Rome.
And Sam.
Rami, Rome,
Yeah.
But yeah, people call me. What do people call you? Dillz? Kosha? Rami?
Kosh is like if you're in the streets and you're like, I'm your buddy, like, yo, Kosh. Hey, Kosh. And Jewish people say, Kosher Dillz. Like,
is it hard for friends to call you your rap name?
This is like an ongoing like tragedy and traumatic life experience of like, well, I want to know you as Rami. You're so much Rami and not Kosha Dillz. And you're just like, could you like get out of my like childhood trauma and just like, let me pick my fucking rap name? That's how long I've been rapping. But listen, when people said how long you've been rapping, I was rapping before using your real name was cool. It wasn't even a thing. No rappers used a real name. I think they just
ran out of rap names and they had to start going by regular names.
Like Biggie Smalls had Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I., all these other rap names before anyone would say Christopher Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that your first rap name, Kosha Dillz?
My first rap name was Kosha Dillz. That was it. I just literally got it off. I was 17. It was
you had to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was Kosha Dillz. Then I was embarrassed about it. It was like just KD flow because people made fun of me I come from the era when people was making fun of you right off the gate. And boo.
Do you think people are nice now?
I don't, nicer. I think people are just,
So people just hear your name and start booing.
At that time, yeah. I mean, people just boo anyway. It's coming from the Eureka Post Cafe. Boo. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I saw you a hella long time ago perform. Like probably 2014 in Boston.
Okay.
At Brighton Music Hall.
Oh, yeah, with Riff Raff. That was 2015. That was 2015.
2015.
So just so people know, it was Kosha Dillz, then it was KD Flow, then I came out as Kosha Dillz.
The best name out of the 3.
And my label, thank you. My label, since day one, my PayPal account, if you hit me, Matzah for Your Mouth Records. Matzah, Matzah, for yo, yo, apostrophe, MOUF.
Is that what your LLC is?
My MySpace.com/Kosha Dillz in yo mouth with the F. Yeah. And I was easily like influenced by like, at that point, like the main point of hip hop was to make people suck your dick. You know what I'm saying? There was no other purpose. I was like,
I need to say, because you said that, I got my dick sucked at that concert in the bathroom.
At my show?
At your show when you opened up for Riff Raff in 2016.
Did you get it during my set or the headlining set?
I got a handy during your set.
So you didn't even watch the show. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Hey, it was a great hand job. I had to talk to you.
Wow. You got a hand eater in the show. That's amazing.
Right? On the dance floor.
Oh, okay.
White girl with cornrows.
Nice. Oh, okay. Back then, you couldn't get canceled for that.
No. I like the danger.
2015. It was still okay in Boston, which is probably still okay in Boston now. People don't care.
My mom told me that her type in college was white guys with dreadlocks, and I think that's one of the most traumatic things I've ever heard.
Nice. Should you listen to Bob Marley?
He's not white. This is white guy.
But
with
they were like, they're like into reggae vibes.
Yeah, loved hacky sack.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hooping at night with neon glow in the dark hoops.
I feel like ska is just white person reggae.
Scott Hawkins is dead. Shout out to MC Lars. Yeah.
That name is a name I haven't heard in so long.
Vans Warped Tour. That was on the Vans Warped Tour. Oh, and shout out to the guy who booked me on that show who called me today from Bahrain. Does anyone know where that is?
No idea.
Yeah, it's like the oil Middle East. It's like part of the.
And he booked like you for the Vans?
He used to book. Yeah, shout out to Lance. Lance from Live Nation.
I feel like
he was booking at Brighton. And now from what I think, he's overseas, I think still in Bahrain. He might actually be in New York, but.
I feel like Vans Warped Tour is the wildest of tours.
It is.
Because it's just like white kids who don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think, yes.
And just hate their parents.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of teenage angst. And in my situation, it was like in your 30s angst. You know? Yeah.
You don't really match the Vans Warped Tour vibe. I'm not going to lie.
The thing about, and shout out to Kevin Lyman, the thing about Vans Warped Tour was like, it was a dream come true. You have to understand, from touring, you know, playing the Mideast or doing like a guest verse on like somebody's rap set on the upstairs spot to sell CDs, and then getting a call from CAA, you know what I mean, to do 40 shows at a specific amount of money and be like, yep, you got to buy into a tour bus. And you're like, what do you mean, tour bus? Like they don't just give them to you? And that's the thing, dude. Like no one tells rappers anything. Underground rap has confused the entire society that we live in today. People think they could show up late. People think that's an hour late is on time. That shit. Vans Warped Tour, you were up at 7 o'clock working like a construction job. It was my dream come true. It was like, I have a real job. I was getting checks, you know, like a check or cat. You're like, check, you know, people like, yeah, it wasn't some rap shit where you're like, yo, I need my money now before I get on the stage. But I was taught through that. And Vans Warped Tour was so amazing because these artists, Riff Raff was the biggest act on the tour. Like at that time, he was like Riff, like it was just, what's his name? I don't know. He has so many different names, but it's like, the Pink Panther, Dusty Jody High Roller, and he had security, like the biggest security guy who's like gone on to do security for like Ariana, you know, the biggest of the big. Even a security guard was famous. Like it was just, it was
That's
so
when
amazing.
you know you made it.
Yeah, your security guard's famous. Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, you're doing an after show," and I'm like, "Yo, I got to get on the show." And it was the coolest. It was the coolest thing. Vans Warped Tour was the first time I trended on Twitter. Hello.
Wow.
It was so amazing.
You liked the corporate side of it. You had to get up
it was such.
You were a unionized artist.
Yeah, you got paid every week. It was like it's a real tour, right? It's a traveling circus. Have you ever seen like a circus, like Ringling Brothers?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
You're part of the traveling circus. There's like 300-400 people working. You know, there's the bands, there's the merch guy, there's production, there's sound guys, there's local crew, and you go and you set up your tent, your Kosha Dillz tent or your Bucked Up podcast tent, and then people meet you, and then you sell your merch. You're there all day. It's like a fucking flea market.
Yeah, but
and you just like literally headlock kids, and they're like, their parents gave them $30, and they're going around. They're like, "Oh, come here. Do you like rap music? Let me freestyle for you." And
they got the day off at Spencer's.
Yep. Yeah, and they're like, "I'm gonna spend this, and I'm gonna get a pin and a button." And I was selling pickles at the tour.
Really?
Yeah, because people are like, "I'll buy a pickle. I love the pickle guy." And that's when, all right, this conversation is taking a turn. Do you remember when?
Taking a turn? I was talking about getting my dick sucked while you were on stage.
Yeah, oh my god.
we took a turn.
Speaking of Kosha Dillz, he's getting a handy, and pickles were becoming popular from Pickle Rick. Pickle Rick had just come out, so they're like, "Hey, it's Pickle Rick! It's Pickle Rick! It's Pickle Rick!" I mean, the Pickle Rick explosion. If you look now, just like a couple things on Instagram, just for anyone watching, pickle related stuff, and then all your Instagram will be like pickled ice cream, pickled pizza, pickle this, and all these posts go viral because people are like, there's like a whole subgenre of pickles. So
an obsession of pickles.
yeah, 1,000 words. If you reach under that table, I could show you the merch from Vans Warped Tour. Just grab one of those shirts and toss it over here. Here you go. Throw it over. You hear it? This is a pickle button up. All right.
Oh wow.
Yep. I'm gonna just show you. And this shit still sells. Shout out to Shalom Clothing who designed this. I'm going to hold this up. Hold on.
It has the pocket and everything.
Yep. Sorry. This is going to piss people off, the sound.
It's okay. Fuck them. That is a dope shirt.
This is a shirt you would buy at Warped Tour. I'll give you one. Okay.
Thank you very much. That's a legendary shirt with the pickles.
Yeah, dude. You could wear it at... I'm sure it'll be a big hit at Drumwork Fest.
Now, what's your favorite pickle?
Yeah. What would you say if I don't even eat pickles?
You're anti-pickle.
I mean, it's like, do you listen back to your podcast?
Never.
Exactly.
Wait, did you invent pickles?
Yeah.
You were just playing with vinegar one day and throwing cucumbers around.
So crazy. Like, no, I have, actually, a shout out to Grillo's. They make great pickles. They actually have a pop-up in New York City right now. It's whatever. I like homemade stuff. I mean, obviously the Kosha Dillz, pickles in a bag if you go to the South.
But you're not a pickle fan.
I mean, I wasn't. It was just a thing. It was just a name. It was nothing to do with pickle. It was like obviously a double entendre, triple entendre. Kosha Dillz is not for my love of pickles. I was 17. It was a sexual reference, as you can say, Kosha Dillz in your mouth. It was a Jewish reference. And it was like a hustle reference because I was a hustler. I was like Kosha Dillz, kosher deals. You know what I'm saying? Just, that. It was a play off all the words. I couldn't commit to anything completely.
Do you regret sticking with that name?
That's interesting. Let's ask the listener. No, to be honest, it's awkward because a lot of people, I'll go to like an event or something and they're like, oh, Kosha Dillz, how are kosher, the pickle thing, and you're just like, dude, just call me Rami. Just. So
back to the going by your real name.
Back to going by your real name thing.
Yeah.
It's like, do people be like, oh, Bucked Up? Do people just call you Bucked Up? Or they're like, oh, hey, Sam.
Mm-hmm. So I get Bucked Up a lot.
Yeah,
I'm glad that Buck's my last name.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. My name is an ill name, and that's why I kind of really want to push for like branding my real name on my next tours and shit. Rami Matan Even-Esh or Ram Matan Even-Esh.
That's a dope name.
Yeah, I wasn't always a Jewish rapper. My first name was Ram, which means high exalted. My middle name is Matan, which means gift. So everyone in middle school called me Ramadan.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a Muslim holiday.
So you're rebranding yourself.
Yeah, dude. I mean, no, in a sense, I'm definitely trying to let people know who I am more. I don't think people really know much about me.
People don't realize you don't like pickles.
People don't know much about me. They're like, oh, the guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay. I branded myself pretty much as like a hard worker. So it's like, it's definitely like, oh, I want people to like get to know me and learn a little bit of the backstory and shit. And when you're telling about your backstory, you have to, my name's not like Jacob Weinstein or just like an American Jewish name. It's like it's not an American name.
Yeah. It's hard to get branded as a hard worker because you have to keep up that work ethic.
Yeah, it's actually weird. It's like people who, I don't work hard. I need to express this to people. Being on Instagram for like 8 hours a day is an addiction. It's not a work ethic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you're on the email and you're hiring people and you're like have people doing outreach for events and booking and then you're creating videos and editing podcasts and uploading and sharing and then doing outreach to like higher influencer people and doing phone calls and then taking care of your mental health and then exercise. I mean, yeah, that's hard work. I think people that hang outside Home Depot that do construction and landscaping for 10 hours a day for $20 an hour, that is what I think of as hard work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think creating relationships with your supporters and fostering them to be your diehards, Like people who have diehard fans versus people that are continually trying to like be in the spot and outreach to people that don't fuck with them anyway. Like that's not hard work. I think the hard work is fostering the relationships you have with your existing supporters. Like you're going on tour, you're doing the Bucked Up podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think me rapping on the street continuously because I knew that was a genius move to go viral in New York City, to get me auditions to go Wild and Out at 40.
Are you 40?
Yeah, 41.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Looking great.
Thanks, dude.
I would never have guessed that.
I can't wait till I'm 50. You know what I'm saying?
Now I do. Okay, I don't. But now I understand why you would want to rebrand from a name that you picked when you were 17. When you're like, a grown ass man now who wants to be known as who you are.
Exactly. You know how fucked up it is to like go through your 20s is like, and this is not anything. It's just imagine existing in so many different worlds, but your name was Old Dirty Bastard. He didn't make it through to be who he was. You know what I'm saying? But imagine Old Dirty Bastard alive today, just like navigating and like black tie affairs at the fucking Met Gala. Oh, hello, Old Dirty Bastard. You know what I mean? It just kind of, people are like, oh, that's.
But you're doing comedy, which is taking it as taking your seriousness
you have to take it seriously as a joke. But I also, it's like a quest to discover yourself at a later, you're like, dude, I'm just getting started. And it's not my fault that I'm just getting started. It's just, it took me this long to discover, oh, this is like the next step. You know what I mean?
Do you think you decide to freestyle on the street because you consider yourself not a hard worker?
No, freestyling on the street, that's a great question. Freestyling on the street was a thing that happened when, like, shout out to my old roommate, Lonnie. He's one of my best friends. This guy was a broke cab driver making $10 an hour who lost his cab license, became Uber driver, lost his Uber license, lost his Lyft license, and then rode his bicycle to work at a rehab for $12 an hour, right? As a grown man. And then he did that and he kept working, and now he's like multimillionaire, like owning, like rehabs. You know what I mean? And he was like, Rami, he's like, shut the fuck up and go rap outside. And my whole thing was, I want to be inside. I want to be in, because I had a Super Bowl commercial. And what happened is I had my biggest hit in 2012 was that with Jesse Shack, and I had a Super Bowl commercial. It was like a 6-figure deal with Bud Light. But I didn't keep working because I thought, I was like, oh, I didn't make, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just imagine having $0 and then being from the underground rap world. I'm talking like rapping, like having songs with like RZA, C-Rays, and trying to do shit with like Cannibal Ox and stuff like that, right? And then having money, and then just living in LA and just disappearing because you're just living and not continuously working because the money goes and 5,000 and 10,000 and 20,000.
It's like how they say people win the lottery always goes broke because it's not about what you have, it's about what you do with the money. Exactly.
So I was like ashamed, and I'm just like, I just need to go. And I never had a real job, so I only sold drugs and delivered pizza, and I sold Cemetery Plaza door to door. So a whole nother story. I was killing it. But like I came from the hustle world, so no one taught me how to do things. I just learned from mistakes, right? But the street performing was like my form of hard work. It was like, yo, that was my construction job. It was like, just get out there and rap because you are a rapper. You have something to say. You like people. And this is a way to just be out of your head.
Yeah.
And not be like, you know how artists be. They're like, I should be this, or I should be on that tour. Like, you're so busy thinking who you should open up for. You forget to foster your own development. Mm-hmm. So the street shit was just like, yo, YouTube and going, people posting about you. And I'm like, I don't have to tell people, listen to my song, because they're hearing me rap in real time, and I'm rapping about them. And that developed once the pandemic hit. I wasn't filming or anything in LA. I was just doing it and just trying to make $100, $200 and just navigating in the world's post, Warped Tour. I did another Warped Tour. And that was like my goal. Everyone's goal was to do Warped Tour because it was like our long job of the summer, right? And you could just sell so much merch. So during the pandemic, come to New York. And then I'm like, oh shit, like we got 50,000 views on Instagram. because I'm like rapping in a snowstorm, and I was like, I started rapping in extreme weather. It was just like those were all the videos. Like, oh, if it's snowing, Kosha Dillz will be outside rapping. And then I was like, oh, this is like a thing in New York. People like, oh, you're crazy. Like, you know how people say the Bronx, like, oh, some Bronx shit. Like, this is Bronx. You're like if you see something really, really crazy in New York, you'd think it's the Bronx. Then it goes Brooklyn, then everything else, right? But the crazy stuff is Bronx. So any video is like, oh, it's in the Bronx. You know, a lot of people will click on it.
Yeah.
So it was like a snowstorm it was like on Hanukkah, and I was like rapping in a blizzard in front of like a menorah in Williamsburg, and people were sharing it nonstop. I'm like, oh, I get it. So now I'm like, I keep rapping in snowstorms, and then I was getting on What Is New York and things like that, and then you know, people are like, New York is back, New York is back, and New York, I was making more money rapping on the street than I was at regular shows. So to me, you know, the street performing thing was like, yo, this is dope. Now people are paying me to rap about their company or brand and stuff like that. And it was just like, oh, this is a thing. People want me to, and I was kind of always doing stuff like that on the tours anyway to sell merch. I'm like, oh, I'll freestyle about you also after I performed, but this is just a new thing, you know, and there was no shows. There was no touring.
Are you hard on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
This is the point that I asked that is because listening to you talk it's hitting very close to me, and it's the reason I like stand up, and it's the reason I like this podcast. Because if I had any setup more than this, I would talk myself out of it.
Oh yeah.
If stand up was anything more than just walking up on stage, I would talk myself out of it because I'm very hard on myself.
Yeah.
But I also believe in myself just enough to do that thing that's immediate.
Right. Yes. Like yesterday, I did. What did I do yesterday? I did a show yesterday. I'll just tell you a great thing. So I just got this Jewish star from a guy who did his podcast, my boy Brian. Shout out to the Brian Adam podcast. They gave me a Jewish star that's like 300 years old. He gave it as a gift, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. And I was hula hooping yesterday because I was so miserable. So I found some hula hoopers. I was, I'm going to do some shit. This is some stuff that happened to you when you get older. If you're younger watching this shit, trust me.
One day you'll be looking back and you're like, Kosha was right.
Yeah.
I'm hula hooping. I'm sad.
You're like, you know, I was trapping Oxycontins and now I'm doing hula hoop.
Now I'm crying, hula hooping in the park.
Yeah. But the thing is, my necklace fell off. So I was like, yo, I felt horrible about myself. And then I went to a show. I killed the show knowing I'm like, I am a bad person. Even though I'm not a bad person, but now because I lost something, you're like beating yourself up. You're like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. And I went back and it was there and it was messed up. But I found, this is 34th Street. So this is the craziest shit. I'm in New York City. I dropped my necklace, a 300-year-old Jewish star from Austria. The guy bought off like a site, like, you know, an auction site. It was authentic. And I got it as a gift and I already lost, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, dude, well, how disrespectful is that? In my mind, I'm thinking this guy must think I'm so disrespectful. I'm not. It's just a mistake. It happened. Shit happens, right? But I could still kill a show. I could perform in front of 10,000 people. It doesn't mean you feel great about yourself. You could have a million downloads on your podcast and you're like, dude, you're not a good person. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy. That shit is bananas. So that's stuff I'm personally working on. But I think artists feel like that in general because we know we could do more. Like that's what people are like, you work so hard. I'm like, dude, I am the laziest fucking guy I know.
But do you think that thought is what pushes people forward? Because if you were happy with yourself, you wouldn't want to do anything more. When you made all that money, you didn't want to do anything. You know, because I was lazy. You hit the level.
Yeah, you hit the level.
You hit the level. But when you're unhappy with what you're doing, that's just going to keep pushing you forward.
It's so crazy. Yeah, man. So that's what I'm working. I'm working on like I make myself run faster through like trauma. I don't make myself run faster because come on, brother, you're about to kill it. Like we're about to kill it. And that's a whole mind shift. You know, 1,000 words doesn't want to take another fucking picture of another rapper, but you're like, yo, this next picture is going to be the one that goes. It's going to be the best one to post. And it's an unquenchable thirst success. You know what I mean? Could you like, all right, you're you know, you talk about Buffalo rap, right? And just like Benny the Butcher and just like thinking, I remember like listening to his music before my rap battles at Wild 'N Out. I told him this shit. And I'm like, And then I met him and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this picture would probably be like huge, whatever. Like no one cared about my fans. I would probably know who he is. Really, I have like such an interesting, follower base. From Wild and Out to like the Jewish world to underground, maybe only underground rap people do. But and that's obviously like such an understatement because so many more people know us than we do. Mm-hmm. But you're always like, oh man, this was like the meeting that I needed to have before I went to Buffalo. Like I can't believe I'm doing a show in Buffalo. I'm meeting like Buffalo rappers in the air. Like what are the chances? And just no, nothing. And then on to the next thing. Oh, I thought we were gonna do this podcast and someone's gonna hit me up. It's like, no. So you do your first time you get on TV, you're like, yes, I got on TV. That's crazy. I got a Super Bowl commercial. That's crazy. But reality is, it's better if you had a bunch of small commercials, right? And you have that consistency. You have a structure. And that's the shit you learn as you get older. Yeah. You're just like, man, I wish I had 10 $2,000 licenses because you're like, a little HBO, a little MTV show, season 6, episode 4, whatever. But you get on TV the next time and you're like, damn, I ain't even on TV that much. And you're like angry, you're complaining, thinking another season of Wild and Out. Just see how it is. You're like, wow, it's called the law of diminishing returns. The only thing I learned at Rutgers University in economics.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Infuse Productions. Anyone who likes good weed, good music, and good people needs to check out Infused Productions. And make sure to come to one of their upcoming shows, always featuring your favorite cannabis vendors and growers. Also, don't forget to come join the Grumpy Cup in Greenfield, Mass, July 8th and 9th for a comedy show, cannabis competition, barbecue competition, and exotic car show. Make sure to hit up Infuse Productions on IG, Facebook, or go to infuseproductions.com. That's INFUZED Productions.com. Or if you want to check out the Grumpy Cup, go to thegrumpycup.com. Let's get back into it.
You eat a cookie. The first cookie is fucking amazing, right? The second cookie, not as amazing because you already ate the first one. This is also for people who smoke weed. Fourth cookie, you're listening, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
By the 10th cookie, you are sick of yourself. You know what I mean? By the 10th season of Jersey Shore, you think the situation is like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. I'm scared. Dude, are you serious? No way. There's no way. It's impossible. So how do you stick into like a mind of like, yo, man, I'm so crazy. I'm so grateful that I'm having like a stride at my older years. And I thought I made it when I did a song with RZA. I was in the studio with RZA and Cool G rapping.
Yeah.
Rapping,
at what age?
Killing it. At 29, 30. You know what I mean? Set to be like, okay, 32 is the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're like, nah, 2015 was like when I got on Vans Warped Tour. Then I went on Vans Warped Tour and did the street stage. I didn't get booked, and I booked the street performer stage and played for free, but sold twice the amount of merch. So I still made the same amount of money on a smaller stage and get the same amount of promotion. But I still did it because I was like what I knew and shit. You know what I mean? So you just really don't know what energy or spiritual energy comes into your life and just says like, yo, just...
Well, it's tough how the thing that helps you is also the thing that hurts you. The law of diminishing returns. My addictive personality is the thing that makes me just want to keep doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
But that's also the thing that holds me back.
I love rapping, like on so many levels. And you could tell like when I come from a world that says like, oh, Kosha, you rap. Could you do a rap for me right now? Like, name some rappers you work with. Name 3.
Danny Brown. West Side Gun. Fucking, I'll say Conway the Machine too.
Okay, Conway. Okay, perfect. You think people get, hey, Conway, what's so cool? Oh, your friends are rappers. This will be like my friends, right? Let's say Conway comes with me to like a Shabbat dinner or some shit. So here's Conway. Hey, Rabbi Isaac, right? Upper West Side. It's Conway. Oh yeah, Conway's here. You see how many? Oh yeah, rap. Do a little rap first. Come on. And then motherfuckers be like, I don't rap unless I get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To people,
it's like when people ask me to tell a joke.
Yes, exactly. Comedians will be like, oh my God, tell me something funny. It happens every comedy club. People are like, because they're like, time's up to use. So for me, I turned that around and I was like, you know what? Every time someone asks me to rap, I'm going to rap. Fuck it. What would my life be like if I did that? Now, the great, what would life be like?
Has that changed life?
Huh?
How do you see life now that you've done that?
Is this whole video going to be in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that Argentinian flag?
Yes.
I'm not Argentinian, but some kids from Argentina gave me that flag because I started rapping about Argentina. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the story I have, like Puerto Rican Day Parade. You don't know, it's like rapping there, rapping about, Ukraine and Israel and all these, like people give me shit.
I think
like it just, you never know. Like I might perform at someone's weddings and that's just because you're like, I'm very much of a yes person. They're like, Coach, you want to rap on a street corner? Yeah. Do you want to open up for Jizza? Sure. I'm like, do you want to play, you want to rap about sustainable energy in Flint, Michigan today for some nonprofit foundations for, a couple $1,000? Yeah.
But why is that you? Why do you think you're that type of rapper?
What a great question. I think, people ask me what kind of rap music I make. I make user-friendly rap music, right? For instance, I just did a song with Camouflage Monk. Taxes Done.
Yeah.
He was like, we were just like excited to talk to each other. I'm like, man, this is going to like shock people. People are like, what?
Because it's not.
Because he also doesn't like, he gets it. When I talked to him, I was like, he gets it. Like, you don't want to be like just a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Because what is life like? What is life like? Like, how the hell did I go from being Rami for the first half of my life and then now I've been Kosha Dillz almost longer than Rami. You know what I'm saying? And I'm obviously, but like people used to say when I was wrestling in college, I'd be like, yeah, Even-Esh, you don't want to fuck with Even-Esh. Like that was who I am. You don't want to fuck with me. So when I went to jail, Kosha Dillz didn't go to jail. Kosha, I wasn't even so I'm taking my life experiences as Rami, Evan, and that shit it's such a cool journey to be on.
Yeah.
Like it's cool that you could do stand up and you do stand up for people and no one knows who any of the rappers are that you interview.
That is one of my favorite things because it humbles me.
Danny Brown must get it too because he's doing comedy now too.
Yeah.
And he's doing you know what I'm saying? And obviously he's like at a way larger level of popularity than both of us put together 17 times, but
comedy is humbling in that way because no one gives a fuck who you are. You're talking about the booing, like that's nice in a way because if everything else goes well, you can go bomb on stage doing stand-up.
And people deserve to experience bombing. You deserve it.
You really, the humbling.
do.
It's like
you deserve to.
When people are like, everyone needs to know what it's like to get punched in the face.
Yes, exactly.
You need to know what it's like to have an audience hate you.
Yeah,
A group of people like hate you.
You need to know what it's like to have people hate you. For real.
You do.
You deserve it.
You can't walk through life thinking everyone likes you.
Let me tell you a great story about the group 112.
Oh, God.
Peaches and Cream. First time I heard them, I was at Club Exit in New York City. Maybe I was 19. DJ Riz was there. I was giving him a song called, it was my second rap song. I remember hearing a song. I remember navigating to the DJ booth to give him a CD about a song I had called Ketamine. I was like, are you ketamine? And this is when people still sniff ketamine and it wasn't legal to do like legal services with it like it is today. But the point
Were you
being
sober at this point?
No, this was a pre-incarceration Kosha. Like, I've been arrested like 4 times in my life. But, so, I've been sober almost 19 years. By the time, when does this podcast come out? Maybe
a couple weeks.
Okay. So yeah, end of July, July 30th is my sober date. So, I opened, it was my first paid gig. I got $500 from Rutgers University to open up for 112. The record that I showed them was like, and at the time I was paying rent. I was paying $500 in rent. I was like, yo, how can I open up? They're like, yeah, we'll let you open up for 112. And I had like, my music was super hardcore underground. Like horrorcore was the thing. I had a song called Chainsaw Music.
You were in it.
Chainsaw Music, Zone Out. And it was all music I recorded when I was high, but I released it when I was sober. So it was like, cause my goal was to like release the vinyl. I was like, Matzah for your mouth, something celebrity. I don't know. I was like frat party celebrity or some song. And they were just like, boo. And then I got pissed off and I started like battling the crowd. I was like, I will never get off this stage. I will. And I remember I invited like my first ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend ever. I was like 22, 23. And they were just like, boo. And 112 was selling Polaroids for $25 a pop, and motherfuckers lined up, and it was so cracking. People, and I was like, man, I had maybe 4 months sober or 2, something like that. And I was like, man, that's the most money I ever got paid for rapping. And I just got booed. And then my entire position on rap music shifted. I was like, I could do this. I could do this shit. I could do this shit.
It's not going to get worse than unless some guy stabs me while I'm on stage. It's not getting worse.
It was just like no one... Like I was coming to a point where I was so high on drugs when I was rapping in the battle shit in like New York Club Pyramid and stuff. Like no one really ever talked to me. First rapper that really ever showed me love when I was like getting sober was Pumpkinhead, rest in peace. And like he was like, wow, you're like changing. And he was like my favorite rapper. And
what made you get sober?
I was facing a lot of prison time. I was in a sting operation. So like I had already done time for selling ecstasy. And I was like buying them for $15 and like selling them for $20. It was like you could literally do anything. And at that time, ecstasy was like fentanyl. Now, like the experience of like you know what I mean? This is like 2002, 2003. So I was like under watch. I was selling drugs every day, but just really using it just to get high. So in my mind, I was like Tony Montana, but I was more like fucking. I was like, no. I was like, I don't know. I was like,
you were like a dude named Tony in Montana.
Like,
you were Tony Montana.
Shlomo from Montana. I was like, yeah, fucking, I don't know. What would be like the opposite of the Montana? Is Shlomo from New Jersey? I don't know. Yeah, it was like, it was nothing. So that entire, when I was caught, I remember, Sopranos was out at the time. Sopranos was like, I was really about that. Like I was like the Jewish guy. I was like Ray Liotta in Goodfellas. He was like my icon. He was like the slimy Jewish dude that was just in the Italian film. And he was like, you never dated a Jewish girl or nothing like that. He just like didn't really want to be associated with anything Jewish. And I was like pink shirt and like a Rolex. My other homie Jay, my man Jay just did a book from prison to millions. Like I come from like real, like you think I hustle. If I introduce you to this is my man Pop, like another guy I hustle with, Pop Get Fresh. He was my barber when I had hair. He had a job for a short time, obviously.
I know. Yeah. Trust me, I'm
no.
You looked at my head.
But that was it. It was like I had a bunch of cocaine on me. And I was in handcuffs, and I didn't even throw the large amount. I threw the small amounts. That's how drug addicted I was. I was selling cemetery plots door to door. I was set up on campus.
All coked up.
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, I like the idea of selling cemetery plots on a college campus.
Yeah. I was
You're knocking on dorm rooms.
No, but I did it in Edison, New Jersey. I remember I was just like, back then you got jobs out the classified section. It was ill. So I remember getting set up in this thing, and I ran. I went back. I was trying to run back into class. So when I first did my time, I had about 60 credits. Then I came back and I had almost like 110 credits. I was about to finish, and all I wanted to do was finish college, and then I was going to stop drugs. And I was like hoping I would get arrested or go back to meetings because I already had to go and get things signed so I would get out of trouble. And I was basically on probation from like 2001 to like 2008 or 9 or 10, something like that. It was set up, and I didn't do time. They didn't find the large amount of drugs, and that was like the sign from God or something that I was like, yo, I have a chance to do what I really want to do. And once I got sober and I was like able to breathe through my nose, I was just writing raps and stories and books, and I'm like, I am going to do this shit. I'm going to release music, this is my plan. And I've been on that journey ever since.
Did you find religion during that time?
The first time I ever seen a rabbi, this is because so for people that don't know, I'm definitely involved in like the Jewish space in the world of like touring with Matisyahu, and then, there's just so much different kind of shit. But like, I only saw a rabbi in jail because everyone else was seeing a pastor. So I claimed religious discrimination. I was like, I'm not working. I thought I said,
that's the first time you ever did anything religious.
I did a bar mitzvah, and I went to Hebrew school, but like from then to like where I was in jail at 20 turning 21, nothing. And then after that, I was, I got back in. I did before I did Birthright, right before I was like, Birthright's like the trip you would go, Jewish kids in college take the trip to go to Israel and shit. So they had a couple months left, and after I got sober, my boy Jonah introduced me to Matisyahu, and he's like, yo, this guy's really Jewish and I want to do a lot of Jewish stuff with you, and he's like, you should meet him. And then I went and I performed at BB King's on Christmas night, and I'm like, what is this gonna be like? And he was like in the New York Times. I met him, I went to his house, he like beatboxed for me, I kicked a rhyme, he's like, yo, you're pretty good. Gave me an opportunity to perform on stage. And on Christmas night in New York City, there were like 1,000 Jewish people at this party. And you're like, what do Jews do on Christmas? They all go out and party.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Yeah. Eat some Chinese food, go
Eat
out
Chinese
and
food
party.
and just go holler, you know?
Yeah.
And
go dancing with some lo mein in your stomach.
Yeah. For me, General So. But
good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. Or sesame chicken or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was like the coolest thing. And my boy was in this band, and he knew me from all the stuff at New Rican Poets Cafe. And that was like, people are like, your name is Kosha Dillz? At that point, people weren't like associating them. This was like I wasn't like, oh, you're Kosha Dillz. And people are like, yo, you should do like, there was this burgeoning, like, is the right word burgeoning,
I think.
I think it's burgeoning music scene of the Jewish world, because Matisyahu was like spiritual rap. Before that, it was Ill Bill and Necro. That was my shit. And Beastie Boys. And if you really want to get
you just did some shit with Ill Bill.
Yeah, shout out to Ill Bill. He is an amazing person. And Necro is also really cool too, in different ways. I just think they definitely cornered. But they were the first people to really try to, what I was aiming for with Kosha Dillz, being at my life at that time, I was on some street shit. And I was still hanging on to like my street identity. Now you would be like, he'd never experienced anything like, you could put me in a boardroom with like the biggest nerds. I'm like, oh, hello. You know what I mean? But at that time, I was like, I wanted to be like the street Jew. I wanted to be Ray Liotta from Goodfellas. I was just like,
but no religion.
Nah, more cultural identity. Because religion, everything else.
No relationship with a higher power, I should say.
Well, I have a relationship with a higher power on my spiritual level, but like no organized religion. But being Jewish is an ethno religion, so I'm more in touch with the Israeli side. Currently, I would say what brings me closer to a higher power is speaking Hebrew, just like speaking another language. And that's because that's like the footsteps of my parents and what I was really always identifying with, of like growing up and speaking another language. And I think that's super ill and powerful to be able to communicate with people. I think communication is the higher power for me. I speak Spanish, as you heard. I speak Hebrew, English. I took Italian. I would love to speak. I would love to learn Arabic, like French. This is like that's what I would consider successful. Being able to communicate with everyone properly. That's like, to me, and that's like what an artist does, right? If you're looking like the rappers you're talking about, West Side, and then it's like being able to communicate to so many people and they actually understand the words that you're saying and they're speaking them back to you, even though it's a song. But that's the illest shit that a human could do, is be able to, that would be my superpower. You heard?
Speak every language.
Speak every language. Yes, that would be like, because then what's fucking with that?
Okay, so
you could imagine doing comedy in every single language.
Yeah, I did comedy because I felt so misunderstood, and I just wanted people to. I wanted to force people to listen to me and understand me. Yes. And laughter is what I considered people understanding me.
That's what most hustlers do, is they feel they come from a place. I'll speak for myself. You feel misunderstood. You lack power. You become a hustler because then you're like the item of attention. And people need you, and coming from, and what I'm saying, because you were dealt with, I need other shit. So, that's what I like, really, me being on stage and battling another rapper or performing in front of 10,000 people is because of my lack of being able to communicate all my needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So currently to this day, I'll put out any, I'll do a cartwheel, hula hoop, post a video online, but like having a legitimate it's taken me a long time to learn how to,
why do you think your brain is wired that way?
I think it comes from like generational trauma of my whole family dying in the Holocaust, passed down to my parents, passed down to, to kids, to living in a country where, there's always a war, there's always like watch your back. Like my father the other day, he's like, oh, you're performing in Israel parade, or you're performing, or make sure you watch your back. Like my dad thinks something, I will get stabbed. Like most parents do not just say, be careful. You know what I mean? And everyone will be like, oh, be careful. But, also like I'll talk about addiction and be like, my mother would be like, why would you tell anybody that? I'm like, I've literally done that my whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, I've never had another job because like I'm going to New Zealand this summer and I have to fill out like, when you go to these other countries and you have criminal records, you have to fill out like I'm a decent person. You got to get a person to write a letter. That's the shit so demoralizing. You're like, dude, I'm so detached from that. I did drugs for 4 years. I have all this record. You know, I mean, I did drugs a little bit longer than that, but I've been cleaner longer than I have been high. Yet this stuff travels with you, like no matter what. It's so messed up. If you do one bad thing, people just associate you with that forever, right? If you do all these good things, you need to get proof and show it to everyone. No one even cares. You know what I mean? They still deny you. Yeah. It's even in our society's like framework. So that's a big reason why of like me performing. It's consistently like way to get out of my own head and get out of myself. Cause like, you know,
get in that flow state.
Yeah. You don't like, it's crazy. Cause other people be like, wow, you're so awesome. And you're like, dude, this is nuts. I need to feel like that. I need to feel like you need to feel like what your number one fan thinks about you, not the people in the back. You need to feel about yourself like the people do in the front row, not the motherfucking cool dudes in the back that want to be in the guest list. Fuck them. Bye, take a bitch. For real. You really need those people in your corners. You get, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to everyone on the guest list too. I love you. But you like, I need to feel about especially performers. We need to feel about ourselves like the people that pay us. How much you charge? You charge $5,000? Okay, cool. Then you ask yourself about the guy who you charge $5,000 and then the guy tried to pay you $700, and you're like, you know what? That's my man. You know what I'm saying? He knows this guy, that guy. He's my man. And it was like the most difficult thing to ever deal with. It's like literally like you would literally want to shoot yourself 7 times. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. After dealing with that person who asked for 3 discounts and this and this, and then they don't even do it.
Yeah, no one listens to the golden rule. And that's to treat others the way you want to be treated.
And that's all related to like trauma stuff, because the person's who does that is just he's always preventing himself from moving forward, just making the deal. There's nothing I love to do more than pay people full price. It's because you would never have any issues. You paid the asking price. You would like literally go, you would have, by the time you die, you probably have like an extra 5 years. You know, like, do you feel like, you're saying, are we getting deep?
We're getting deep. Yeah. You're talking about trauma is how you're wired today is based on trauma. Straight back to like, you were talking about the Holocaust.
I did not need to, first off, most people do not need to sell drugs to survive. Let's be honest. Everyone could get a job. I tainted my entire life by making $5 an ecstasy pill.
Why did you sell drugs then?
Because you're like, I wanted to be the man of the tension, you know, and you're like, oh, and I'll get high and I'll get, and so it was just like, I was in control. So people come into this shit because they lack control. People want to feel like they're in control of a situation. No one likes to go, like, it's like, you ever get into a fight and a motherfucker's about to just beat in your ass and you jump. Okay, maybe not. And you're like, you're helpless, but you ever win a fight and somebody's on the ground, like you feel like you're in control, right? And that's just essentially like you're in fighting for your life to be like, if I have this and I know that you need me. It's like someone hitting you up and offering you a gig. They're always going to offer you more than you're like soliciting yourself and saying, hey, this is what I do. And you're like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it goes back to that. And it's just wired from like the way I was just, my interactions with my family from like, you know, and everyone has whatever they have and they going into their adult life, but it's up to you to like navigate that as an adult.
So you go to your first rabbi while you're in prison, but when do you find your relationship?
Jail. I want to say it's jail.
Sorry. Yeah. When did you find your relationship with
the religion? Jewishness? Because Kosha Dillz kept getting sought out by like going to,
so you're like not forced into it.
Yeah, but just Kosha Dillz was like a magnet, because see, Rami is also an Arabic name, Palestinian name, Syrian name, Lebanese name, Egyptian name. So I was like, and I knew I really loved like going to my family's house in Israel, and like my relationship at that time was like, yo, I think if I do this thing as Kosha Dillz, like it'll kind of attract a lot more in this world. And after having an experience with Matisyahu, performing for like a whole room of Jewish people, it was so ill. And just performing for a crowd that you never performed for. I'm talking, this is 2004. I was rapping since 99. So you think I was 5 years, I was rapping for all black people, and I was the white boy. And I was, you know, it's Newark and in New York and Puerto Rican people, and, you know, there'd be one Asian guy and white dudes with backpacks. And then you're like in this room and everyone's having a good time. I didn't even know this existed in rap, that people were having good times at shows. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that because I'm coming from underground rap. And I'm like,
but everyone in the audience is also on the show.
Yes, yeah. And they're just like, it's just not the same experience. And people were singing along. I never seen that. And I'm like, this is what I love. I love this. And people are like, you're awesome. Kosha Dillz, you're amazing. And I was sober and I'm like going to meetings and I was still, and the person I went to that show with ended up overdosing and dying, my boy Andy. And so it was like leaving this life behind and going into this new thing. And that was just attractive. And it was like culture and there's religion and there's these groups and these like, you know, 20s and 30s groups. And they're like, yo, we're doing this thing. You should come and hang out and we'll learn and study. And maybe someone will book you for an event and you could just talk about stuff you do. Yeah. And you're like, that sounds enjoyable, like on a personal level. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. And then I just started being Rami and Kosha Dillz. And I was just like, Kosha Dillz. And that world that I'm telling you about now, I'm talking like 2006 to 2010, doing both of those worlds, rap world and Jewish world, that sort of like catapulted me, and that definitely catapulted Matisyahu. Like when he first started, those small groups were just, you know, you go to Oakland or you go to Atlanta and you go to, you know, these things called Chabad houses, and they're just like, yo man, come hang out, you know, just eat food and hang out and give us a rap or something, you know, posting on Facebook, and then just all these groups and these micro groups, micro communities, yeah, in all these cities, and just travels. And next thing you know, you have a name. Next thing you know, you're playing events, you're playing shows for like, you know, door money or rap battles. And then you're like, hey, can we give you $1,000 to like play this party we're doing? It's gonna be like 300 people. And you're like, fuck yeah, dude. I was delivering pizza and selling cemetery plots, selling fucking Coke.
There's no such thing as niche.
No, it was like, it made sense. It was like, all right, Kosha Dillz.
If there's people like you, there's other people out there who like that.
Exactly.
And you just have to find those people.
Exactly, dude. You could have never told me that like after Company Flow, Run the Jewels would have existed. But you see like culture changing. You're like, oh man, people love Killer Mike. I saw Killer Mike play shows in front of different fans, and there were not a lot of people. There was a lot amount of people at my shows, like 100 people. I played paid dues with like Mac Miller and Macklemore, and played the first tours with G-Eazy and Mod Sun, and played with Lil Dicky. I played through all this shit, and you're like just looking for your community. Not everyone gets a chance to go crazy, but these communities and styles of fans, they exist for each different thing. Nowadays, you see a rapper, right? They go in their first show, it's sold out. Like I said, my first show was just getting booed.
Yeah, like like the
BLP Kosha. Shout out to BLP. Yeah,
that show was crazy. Yeah, you guys just were together.
We were just together. Like. Yeah. He's awesome. He hit me up when he came to New York, and we knew each other through other Jewish people that we recorded with in our boy Yosef and this black Jewish kid in Boca, and it was just like. It was just ill. And because I did something with this dude, Nassim Black, who's a black Orthodox Jew who I knew from Seattle when he wasn't Jewish. He converted. I saw him go from not being Jewish. He was Nassim White and Nassim Black. He was always black. But like he, you know, that's the kind of the beautiful thing about at least my career is that I got to see Macklemore when there was 50 people, and then I got to see Macklemore when there was 50,000.
Yeah.
Or 30 people and 30,000 or whatever. Like, and I seen it and I was like, holy shit. So, you know, you see him go up, you see him go down, you know? So that's the cool thing about sticking around. You know, now I'm like experiencing comedy. Like you're doing comedy. And now I'm like, oh, we'll do shows together. Cause now comics are doing rap shows.
Yeah.
Fucking my boy is going on tour with Lil Durk. You know what I mean?
Who?
I don't want to like, say because it's like but like
a comedian's going
on tour with Lil Durk. There's comedians that go on tour with Jelly Roll. There's comedians that are opening up for my boy Mojo. Mojo does stuff with with Dirk, and he's in his videos and shit. But like that's a consistent thing because people don't want another rapper and another rapper. So like, why don't I get a like comedian or a funny host, you know? And that sort of was introduced in this era of podcasting. Like no one could have told me Joe Button would have been a podcaster.
Yeah. It's because it's a way for people to create content quickly.
Yeah.
Comedy, we were talking about this before, and it's hard to create comedy content.
Yeah, you're just talking shit, and people be like, Kosha Dillz saw a rabbi in jail. It's just funny, dude.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. What do you mean Kosha Dillz wanted to be the Jewish guy in Goodfellas? People go back, watch Goodfellas, and then you splice the video and it has Goodfellas and Sopranos, and, you know, all that stuff is extremely interesting to see how culture shifts. And the cool thing about me is that I've pretty much, Rami and Kosha Dillz all have been sort of aligned in the same thing. You know what I mean? I really always liked being like the tough, more street educated Jewish person. I love bringing together black communities, Jewish communities, working with Holocaust survivors. I was always intrigued, and it's just, I don't know, I'm proud of like what I've created, and other people are too, and just bring it all together somehow. It's hard though. It's hard to be a jack of all trades, dude. But someone got to do it.
What happened that set you on this new path that reinvigorated you?
Of what? Like of
you said just being like, fuck it, I will go rap outside. Fuck it, I will do comedy. Fuck it, I will. What made you like reinvigorated? Find a love again.
I think there's a concept in recovery. In like recovery, I mean sobriety or anyone on the path of like 12-step stuff. It's just like, you know, and I got introduced to that through the court system. So it's just attraction, not promotion. And if people know me, I'm a relentless promoter. But doing attraction is like, put it this way, and I just keep going back to the rap dudes that we see. It's like, you know, the ones who are really killing it, dude, like they're attracting. They're like, you don't got to come to the show. You come to the show, you buy the shirt, you know, but they don't cut a deal. It is what it is. It's strict, and like, I'm the shit. And they consistently feel about themselves that consistent thing. And that is very appealing to me. It's like, you know, this isn't, that's the way to do it. It's like rapping on the street. There's always these videos of like there's a recent article that came up with somebody that played a violin that was like a $4 million violin. He's one of the most famous violin players, and he was just playing in the subway, right? Mm-hmm. People walking by, I don't give a shit. I'm like, dude, this guy's killing it. And then this is the next thing. There was somebody from American Idol that went back to busking. Busking is when you rap on the street or sing on the street or play guitar or whatever. And everyone's like, why'd you do that? And you're like, it's so crazy for the concept of like, people could like leave their former life, break up with their wife, leave their, you know, and then start back over. But in music, it's like looked down upon, right? Where it's like, you know what? Go back down to square one to come back up. And when I did that, I got the audition for Wild 'N Out, and I had the video with Fat Joe. Fat Joe started rapping with me in a rainstorm. Like I said, back to the rainstorms at a Knicks game when the Knicks were winning. Shout out to the Knicks. And that shit, all of a sudden, everyone just showed up again in my life. Like, oh my God, it finally happened. I'm so, you know, happy for you, whether they're happy or not, who cares? But it's like you turn that opportunity into it. And you always know, like anytime I would do a show, I'm like, damn, I can't sell any tickets. So who gives a fuck about tickets? There's plenty of people outside of New York. Yeah. You don't got to sell a ticket. People are outside right now. You could go perform for people right now. And I was just like, fine, who cares? Start over. It's like, I'm just doing the same shit anyway. Making $100 here, $100 there. So it's just like, let me start back over. And there's something symbolic about starting over and just going back to the source to come back up again. And you know what I mean? It's like when someone makes the announcement like, yo, man, I'm going to stop doing Instagram. I'm getting off this shit. And you're like, shut the fuck up, pussy.
It's like the person being like, I'm about to lose all this weight instead of just going to the gym.
Just do it. Shut up and come back and come back. And the thing is, no one knew you were doing the other stuff anyway because they weren't following you anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, who cares? So I just did a film, and I'm like, I'm coming at it like no one, you know, I'm not married to anything, but I was finally happy that like I got the opportunity to go on Wild 'N Out as Kosha Dillz, and then I got my characters on Wild 'N Out on television as Kosha Dillz. And now that I'm doing there, even there, they were like, you can do whatever you want here because this is like your opportunity to really is the last place. My Wild 'N Out family is so amazing. It was so dope to be part. It's so dope to be part of a community, right? Of people that just do their own thing. You would think you would never fucking get there, and you do, and then you're like, holy shit, I could do it. And like even when I was there, I was like, yeah, I want people to really know me. I'm Rami, Kosha is my real name. But hip hop, coming out of hip hop, and then once you start operating in like other worlds, you kind of like you don't want to be your hip hop persona in every single circle. You want to be Sam. Sometimes you want to be Sam. Sometimes you give him this email. Sometimes you give you that email. But you authentically want to be yourself. And for me, right now in my life, I'm really on my Rami shit. I love it.
Are you a comedian?
Me?
Do you see yourself as that now?
Yeah, I love it. I like comedy. I'm not the best comedian, but it is a solid side quest of mine.
It's side quest, not the main quest.
No, my main quest is telling my story. I'm a storyteller. You know what I mean? I want people to really understand and you know what I'm saying, to know my goals. I'm like a guy that I want a family. I want a solid relationship. I want solid relationships with everyone. I want to inspire people. And if I could do that in rap, if I could do that through a media post, if I could do that by writing something, if I could do that by singing something, if I could do that through telling a joke and bringing people together, then why not? Like some of my clips on comedy are getting way more than my music videos. And I just started, you know what I mean? They're not all going to be like that, but that's not what I do it. You know what I mean? I know all my street performance videos aren't going to blow up, but I do know that they make people happy and shit. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun. And like, I think if you come from making a song called Chainsaw Music as your first release, it's really dope to like make a song called Taxes Done. And it's like, I remember when my dad was forcing me to do taxes. He's like, I don't care if you made $6,000. You're going to fucking learn how to do this shit. Because that's what he was taught. He was only taught that. He was not taught emotion. My dad was not taught anything.
He wasn't taught rhyme scheme.
Yeah, he wasn't taught none of that. But now us in like this new generation of like the last of the millennials and the new Gen Z type shit, like we could rebrand Earth. We're rebranding Earth, ladies and gentlemen. So it's really cool to like say, you know what? No, I could do this shit. Like if 30 is the new 20, now 40 is the new 30, and people are making film at a late age and podcasting is becoming something, then I could do comedy. I could do open mics again,
I love that, man. That's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
For real.
Dope. I'm about to do an open mic tonight.
Last thing.
Yeah.
Craziest experience busking.
Craziest experience busking? Oh shit. Yeah, wait. Nah, that wasn't it. I was about to tell you the time that Cat Williams tried to fist fight me.
You can't drop that and not tell it.
Yeah, no, that was in LA in 2011, and I asked him for.
You
a
weren't
drop.
a 14-year-old boy.
I wasn't a 14-year-old boy. No, but that wasn't.
He thought he was getting
street performance. Oh, okay. I have a crazy experience street performing. This was. But yeah, the Cat Williams thing was funny because I just did Wild 'N Out with Cat Williams. He's awesome, and he's just a legend. Cat is just. But like at the time, I think he was really high, and I asked him for a drop, and he got super angry and tried to street fight me. And as I just moved to LA, it was like no one would ever know.
Wait, you were like, hey, can you say this thing? And he's like, square up, motherfucker.
He was like, BET pays me 100 racks for a drop, and I was like, that is so much money for a drop.
You're like, I would do it for 500.
He had his lawyer with him, who was also Jewish, ironically, and he is like, I was like, I got enough Jewish friends, and the guy was like trying to stop it, and then there's one woman. This was the craziest shit about that. He's like, you don't want to. He was like, he's roasting me while he's about to fight me. He's like, you little bald ass motherfucker with your dented ass car, stupid ass motherfucker. And he's like, and then he's like, yeah, let's get it. And he's like, they're like, Cat, it's not worth it. Cat, this one girl's like, Cat, it ain't worth it, Cat. And he's like, it's always worth it. And I didn't get a chance to tell him that.
That's hilarious.
But that was
now
shit.
I know why he fought that child, because it's always worth it.
It's always worth it. But it was so amazing, and I was like, It was a viral moment. It was a viral moment in my brain that
Yeah, you can never.
It has
Imagine Cat Williams squaring up on you.
It has got
with his hair all bouncing around.
I don't know. I think I still have videos of him rehearsing because at this point I was like filming things on my computer, like Dell, with like the camera from the computer. You know what I mean? It wasn't. So, anyways, it has never gone viral, that moment, as it wasn't filmed, but it has gone viral in my brain, has been seen millions of times by myself.
You replay that every day.
And I'm like, I cannot tell anyone this, but this is the first time I really told that story. Because
that wasn't even your craziest buzz.
No. So I started street performing outside the Staples Center, and I started rapping outside the Grammys. And the guy who I had the Super Bowl commercial with, this is what's it called in comedy when you like circle back to the original joke?
Oh,
a callback.
Callback. Yeah.
This is a callback, right? So the guy who I did the Super Bowl commercial with, Jesse Shack and Belief, we on a song called Cellular Phone. So in 2015, he had a sorry for a second. He had a Grammy nominated record with Sia called Chandelier. Remember that?
Yeah.
The Chandelier, the Chandelier.
Yeah, that song was huge.
Yeah. So that was 2015. It was just before Warped Tour, right? So my roommate Lonnie, who's now a millionaire, who was a broke cab driver, goes, Rami, you're not going to go to the Grammys. You're going to get out there and you're going to rap. Now, this guy, Megaran, who was already a member of the Grammys, a great rapper. I just did a show with him yesterday. Shout out to Megaran. I tried to buy a ticket from him. Jesse couldn't get me a ticket. I think he was bringing his mom. I tried to get a ticket from Megaran. I paid him $300 or whatever Grammy seat is. You know, I think it was like $300. But he's like, yeah, I can get him and send you the money back. I'm like, Lonnie goes, you should rap outside the Grammys. And Lonnie has never steered me wrong because he first told me to get a Pro Tools. I recorded that Super Bowl song in a rest stop, by the way, which ended up bringing in six figures, right, on a $50 mic. But back to the busking. He goes, you should rap. This is 3 years after the Super Bowl commercial. You should rap outside the Grammys. This was the first idea of the We Outside Till We're Inside brand of like the shit that I was rapping outside MSG. So I go, I rap. I see everyone that night. This is the craziest night of my life. I'm rapping outside. I see Paris Hilton. I get moved from here because I'm too close to Staples Center. I get moved from there. I got other people filming. Everyone's trying to like film and get celebrities. And I end up seeing somebody, you know, there's tons of people outside. So someone asked me to film me, and then they said, can you sign up? And I'm like, I'll do anything. You're here, I'll sign your list. So I signed the list. I rap. I see Weird Al Yankovic. I get invited to a party, and like Skrillex is there, and Diplo's spinning, and I fucking met Taylor Swift that night. I met Taylor Swift this very night. That's not even the craziest shit, because the story continuously goes, okay?
Yeah.
I get a call the next week from the person I signed her email list, right? By the way, Taylor said, hey, Kosha. She called me Kosha, not Rami. And I thought, she doesn't know I'm Rami.
I'm more excited about Weird Al. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly, seriously. Who I found out wasn't Jewish at that moment. I know, that's some crazy. Cut the video right there. so
I wish the camera could just pan on
I make like $40. I go out. I'm out all night. It's like I said, Diplo. I mean, Taylor Swift. This is all, you know, Jesse doesn't get the Grammy. I think they lost all of them. And it's just an amazing. I meet Ed Sheeran. This is the craziest night of my LA life, right? It's my celebrity night. Week later, I don't know, I'm trying to hang out with some girls, some shit. I don't want to go. Someone called me and they're like, hey, for $150 in like American Express credit cards, we want you to come in and do this survey. They were like filling out for a survey. It was the people that I signed rapping outside the Grammys, right?
Yeah.
And I got all these invites to these parties. I go, I barely get there. I do it. I'm like so reluctant. I wanted to leave early. I wanted to get there late. Month after that, I get a phone call after I get the $150 in American Express gift card, something for Chevrolet. It was just like, you know, they're like, you know, I'm dressed up in a suit, like just no logos, nothing. And they were filming and stuff, and you know, I didn't think anything of it. And they say, hey, you're in a commercial called we use real people, not actors. Do you remember those commercials?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
National commercial, all from rapping outside the Grammys, which I paid to get in. I ended up making that year $50,000 off rapping outside the Grammys. It's in my TED Talk. Check it out. It's called Freestyle Rap Saved My Life. You could look at my TEDx Talk, which I did in Poland. freestyle rap saved my life. Kosha Dillz.
That's
and I
crazy.
Tell that it's crazy because it was like an extension, and it's actually really what I think of, because in my mind, I just wanted people. I wanted to be the guy that was the drug. I wanted to be on the red carpet. I wanted to be, because I should be in there talking to everybody. But sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up and just rap. That's it. And then, you know who else tells me that? At Wild 'N Out. They're like, stop with your stupid ass jokes. Shut the fuck up and rap and roast, kill motherfuckers out there, you know? And that's what I did. And I got moved from rapping here to rapping there. I saw Paris Cylinder, like, you got to move, you got to move, you got to move, you got to move. And then I met those people that signed up on the email list. And then it happened. And then I met Taylor Swift. And then I got the, call the next week. And then a month later. So it was all just like a process of life. And it's like, you think you're there and you think you're there and you think you're there, but you're not. That's why a side quest is not really a side quest. It's a new quest. You feel me?
I do.
It's not a,
You're just on your path.
You're on your path. Yeah.
Living it to the most you can.
That's it, dude.
Not a side quest. It's getting 100%.
Yeah, man. It's a 360 circumference, dude. You know what I mean? That's it. You gotta not, there's so many other things I think people want to do and they don't do it. And I just think it's a disservice to myself not to explore like, just humility and humbling myself and just
and
taking
living
it
life
out.
to the fullest.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a crazy moment, street performing, because that's entirely what street performing is about. You think it's an immediate return, like a busk or $1, but it's not. It's the video that goes, viral. The Fat Joe thing, could have never told me that shit would have happened, because that same day, like a famous producer, I rapped just an hour before with the famous producer. And Mark Ronson saw me that same day.
Really?
And filmed me and put me, everyone's like, you're on Mark Ronson's Instagram. And I'm like, oh my God, I made it. And then another rapper from Venezuela saw me, and I rapped at him, and I was like, oh my God, this guy has like 2 million followers. Sick. Right? I never even posted that video because same shit after I rapped with Fat Joe was insane. And then the week after that, I rapped some dude that was from like Bangladesh, saw me rap. They gave me $100, invited me to perform, and paid me in Ethereum when it was worth and he bought Beeple's art. It was like he owned 69 million, and they found me on the street just from rapping. And there's tons of other stories where emotionally I was like a wreck, and I just met someone the other day that was just like, I met somebody that did hula hooping, and I'm just like, someday it's gonna be this person. He's like, you should hula hoop, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking hula hoop today. And it's not about money, you know what I'm saying? It's about following my path and not getting off the path
and living.
Yeah, and you're not maybe you're not the funniest guy, but I'm trying to be the best me. You know what I'm saying? If that makes you laugh, cool. If not, boo me, bitch. I've been booed by at 112 shows. I could take anything in my life.
Man, that was beautiful. I think that's a perfect ending. I really appreciate your hospitality, your time. This was
thanks, man.
A long time coming.
Get some vinyl. I got vinyl. I got a ton of them here. I don't sell that many, but it's a great record.
You also have pickle shirts.
I have pickle shirts. And I got a Kosha hat. You got to see the Kosha hats. Yeah, head up to merch.
Any final words? Any words of wisdom to leave them on?
I didn't do it. No. No, just kidding. Yeah, man. I just appreciate people being receptive. If you watch the whole video, cool. And, support you, man. Buy your stuff. Subscribe to his channel. And if you want to follow me, Kosha Dillz, everything is KOSHADILLZ, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. My website's koshadillzworld.com, and I am available for cool stuff to do. So if you're like, hey man, I want you to come perform at my barn in upstate New York, and there's waterfalls behind it, and I got, you know what I mean? Let me know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And maybe you'll see us on a comedy show sometime coming soon.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out, Wild 'N Out is out every Thursday right now on VH1.
Maddie Smith was one of my first guests on this podcast.
Really? Maddie Smith is a go. I just said some great stuff to her on television. I hope it may. She is very inspiring to me because she just kills shit, and she don't
give a fuck.
She don't give a fuck. Time to turn on and turn up. or what. And shout out Nick Cannon. Shout out the whole Wild 'N Out cast. Shout out to Ill Bill. Shout out to all the other Jewish rappers out there.
Shout out to Chainsaws.
Shout out to Chainsaws. Shout out to Camouflage Monk.
Shout out Camouflage Monk.
Shout out Camouflage Monk. Shout out Peter Oasis. Who? Shout out Cat Williams.
Shout out Peter Oasis.
Yeah, shout out Thousand Words. Mama Words.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone in Bushwick. I'm not originally from here. I'm originally from New Jersey. I have gentrified this place. I'm part of the problem.
I'm from Massachusetts. I can't talk.
First thing I always rhymed in Massachusetts was Massachusetts, half you useless, half you Jewish. I don't know. That's something like Massachusetts terrorists.
Someone put a beat over that. We're done.
Thanks. Peace.
Goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, hey.